Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to our webinar series, Future You, Set Your Career Compass Right with Experts Insight. And I am Kalyani, your host for this webinar. So today our topic is Build a Career in Management Consulting. And in this webinar, you'll find out about why choose management consulting as your career path. Can a management consultant become a CXO or a CEO of a company? What are the skill sets that you require to excel in this field? Crucial tips and some CAT prep suggestions as well from our speaker. So let's welcome our speaker today. We have Anant Gupta. He's an associate consultant at Bain Company. He's an alumnus of IIM Lucknow. Anant worked at KPMG for 2 years before choosing to pursue an MBA and a career in management consulting. He also did an internship with TAS. So welcome, Anant Gupta, and thank you so much for being here for this session.
Hey, thanks.
So let's start from your career trajectory. So if you could just talk about if you were already with KPMG and you were in consulting, then why IIM Lucknow and what made you decide to go for an MBA and then in management consulting with Bain? So can you just take us through the career trajectory?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So when I was in KPMG, in fact, that was again, like you mentioned, a significant part of consulting, but then that was not management consulting. The people whom I was consulting was mid to upper level management, but not exactly the CXOs to whom we consult in management consulting. So that being the aim, I felt that a career in business, basically business education, business education would be very helpful for me to reach that particular stage. And all of this flowed from being in KPMG and wanting to get into management consulting. So joining Bain was a natural option for me.
Okay. So, but then was there any particular trigger? Like, were you, so you had already decided even before getting into an MBA that management consulting is what you would like to be in? Was that, so basically, our audience, they are MBA aspirants. Some of them are taking CAT this year, some of them are taking next year. So obviously, for them, as in how does one decide or choose a career path? So, if you can even give some tips or what exactly, okay, for you, maybe, it was slightly more easier because you already were in consulting, then you got into management consulting, but so why an MBA then?
Yeah. So coming to the first part of your question, how does one choose a career? I believe one should assess one's 2-3 core strengths or core skills which they possess and which they feel will help them in their career. It could be let's say they're very analytical, or maybe they're confident facing the clients. So based on that, one can choose a career option. If they're creative, maybe let's go to marketing. If you're good in facing clients, go to consulting, something like that. Build on that and then choose a career option for yourself, because that would help you in the long run. That is one. And for me, actually, MBA is the one decision which I had taken even in undergrad. I always wanted to get onto the business side of things since I had done engineering, correct? So having that lens in mind, it was easier for me to choose MBA. But I would suggest that think of where you want to be in the next 5-10 years and see if MBA falls as a cog in the wheel for that particular end goal.
Correct. Okay, we already have questions on CAT prep. So obviously, our audience, please be patient. We'll take your questions on CAT prep, but in a bit. Once, if you get to know his journey, and then, he has, Anant has very interesting journey of CAT prep itself. So he can also tell you a few tips on that. So now, okay, how, since you said that, okay, you were at KPMG in consulting, and then you did your MBA and you have you got into management consulting with Bain Company. So what are the roles and responsibilities at Bain Company, and how different it was, how different it is from what it was in KPMG?
Great question. So when we are part of management consulting, we usually consult to the top management. Which means the C-suite, the CXO, CEO, CFO, whoever they are, and we work on projects which are top of mind for them. So here, currently, like I'm working with Bain Company, my main work is to provide analytical insights to the team, who then create a storyline or who create the answers which are relevant for the C-suite. This is as part of Bain. When I was part of KPMG, I was usually working on projects which are not of that much strategic importance, but they're of importance. So they are more important to the middle senior management. And here I can work on that particular project on my own. I have that kind of ownership to work on my own, but then they're not of strategic importance. So that is the major difference between my two journeys at KPMG.
Okay. But do you handle, so at KPMG, were you handling quite a few projects together? And at Bain, are you handling just one project, or how does it work?
Sure. So in KPMG, since I had an experience of over 2 years, I started to get more projects. I could handle more projects on my plate, more than one project.
Okay.
In Bain, since I've just joined very recently, and I'm getting the flavor. So as you grow on, definitely you get to handle multiple projects. But initially, your entire focus is on a single project because that is also pretty strenuous.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about not just about Bain, but generally, what are the functions of a management consultant? What are the job duties overall? As in, it's a generic, what are the roles and responsibilities of a management consultant? In any firm, it could be dealing with finance, it could be anywhere. Yeah.
So there are no particular job duties of a management consulting per se. It's majorly to provide the correct guidance or the correct consulting advice to CXOs around the strategic issues which they are facing. Let's say they're facing a loss in profit, they are facing very high costs, and then they rope in a team, a management consulting firm. So here we provide analysis, we provide very detailed, very insightful analysis to support our answers, data backed. And then we try to communicate that in a lucid manner so that the management can act on that. So in a nutshell, that is what management consultants do. And responsibilities vary by role, by project. So that's slightly, dependent on the case that you're working on.
Okay. Is it like, if you're a management consultant, is it the same whether you are in a big four or in a big three, not, certain other things? But basically, if you're in the big three or if you're in a big four, is it industry agnostic?
So there are multiple industries to which we cater to. And I wouldn't call it exactly industry agnostic because depending on the industry which you're working for, we have a certain style of doing the analysis, which is obviously relevant to that particular industry. But overall, yes, the process remains the same. You have to provide very detailed, data-driven insights to the management team and try to get them to a solution to the critical problems which they are facing.
Okay. So are you saying that if you are not from finance and if you're a management consultant in a firm where you have to give solutions in that field, what do you do then? I mean, is it possible that the hiring committee only takes people from that particular field, say from commerce to MBA and then management consultant in a finance firm, or if you're an engineer, so maybe more in a tech firm as a management consultant? I mean, how does it work? Yeah.
Great question, Kalyani. I think that's a very top of mind question for a lot of management consultant aspirants, and actually nothing of that sort. So in management consulting, you're expected to ramp up very quickly. The project that you get is not dependent on which background you come from. So right now, I'm an engineer by profession, by my undergrad background. But currently I'm working on a project which involves a lot of financial analysis. So it's a great way. So that is why management consultant is a great way to learn a lot about different functions, different processes, which you might not actually do if you stick to your core line of education. So very short answer to your question, no. We are expected to do everything which the project requires us to do, irrespective of our background.
Okay. Let's take a few questions. Of course, a lot of people, as usual, we were expecting anyway. Yeah, they'll be talking about CAT prep. They'll be asking questions about CAT prep. So someone has written how to score above 80 percentile in CAT. Of course, this question is kind of, it also depends on whether you are taking CAT in 2023 and whether you are taking CAT in 2022, because at which stage you are in your prep, that also, of course, varies. But yeah, if you could just maybe give a few tips, which is more generic for everybody. Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. So since you mentioned 80 percentile, that's a particular number that I need to reach to. Got it.
Yeah.
I would say that start taking your first.
Above.
Yeah, 80 and above. Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. So my suggestion to all the aspirants would be first start taking your first mock test. Do that. Assess yourself. Where do you lie? How far are you from that 80 percentile mark? Let's say if you are 60 percentile, then identify which section, drill down, identify which section are you is there where you're lagging, which is your weakest section basically, and then which is your strongest section. And if you feel that there is in your strongest section, there is still scope for improvement, I would suggest go for that first, because it's always easier to crack a section in which your strengths lie. Right. After you've done that, move to the section where you are the weakest, but you can reach a certain hygiene level, because CAT also has a minimum cutoff level. IIMS basically, admission into IIMS requires a minimum cutoff level. So go for that section and try to reach just that hygiene level. I'm sure if you do these two things, you're good, very good in your strong section, and you've reached the hygiene level in your weakest section, you're definitely bound to crack over 80 percentile. And then you can keep on incrementally improving.
So are you saying this particular mock one should take before the CAT prep itself, so that, they know where exactly they are, and then what stage one should be taking that one mock to figure out?
Got it. Usually a lot of people take mocks maybe 3-4 months into the CAT prep. My strategy always was to start taking mocks as soon as possible, because you can then continuously monitor yourself every week. Like, let's say even if you're taking a mock every 2 weeks, whatever you've learned in those 2 weeks, you can apply and then improve your scores.
Correct.
So my suggestion is keep on taking mocks irrespective of where your CAT prep is.
Okay. This is a very interesting question. How do you decide your first move while consulting clients? Do MBA colleges teach this, or is it just a thing that you learn while you're at job? Or is it something that is part of your personality, strategic thinking, and being analytical? Yeah.
Got it. Sorry, I didn't get that. First move, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah. How do you decide your first move while consulting clients? So basically, how do you handle clients? As in, the question is basically, are you taught anything in college that you can use? So did you learn something at IIM Lucknow that actually kind of helped you to handle a particular client at the consulting firm? Or was it just your own personal skills? Like maybe, you're a strategic thinker, that's part of your personality or something. Yeah.
Right. That's a great question, in fact. And I have two different stories. So when I was in KPMG, in fact, I was asked to deal with a client on my own on my very first or second day. So that was something which I was not prepared for. And it's something you can't prepare for, actually. Here in these situations, where if you've been in this situation, my advice would be always try to go into the meeting with the client with the intention to understand what they're trying to say and not fluff around much. However, if you join a management consulting firm, usually they have very strong training programs where they coach you and they guide you on how to deal with clients and what to do in these kind of situations. So mostly a lot of us pick the skills from there and try to implement there. But I would say that don't try to fluff in front of clients and always go with the intention to understand what they're trying to say and with some data if possible. Which the client will respect you if you have some data around their industry and company. Yeah.
But did you learn anything, as in, was there anything from your B school that you could bring and could use it for your...
Sure, definitely. Yeah, B school helps you in a great way to kind of understand all the fundamentals of business. So whenever your client is trying to explain the problem, you grasp it very way faster than you would have if you would have not gone to a B school, because you're familiar with the term. You've studied that for the past 2 years.
Okay. How MBA in business analytics is currently or will be important in the upcoming time with respect to consulting with the senior management as compared to MBA in finance or marketing departments? That's
That's a slightly
business analytics is kind of because picking up, and also probably in an organized in a firm, business analysts are also bringing business solutions, right? Studying the numbers and studying the data and bringing in solutions. And management consultant is also doing the same. So, so there are firms, they have separate department for the business analytics people, like I think McKinsey has, and I'm sure all the other top firms too. But how exactly does that clash in any way, or is it like a management consultant need to have also some kind of certification in business analytics just to have an upper hand?
Got it. So if you've done an MBA without a business analytics, a general MBA, you generally have the required skill set or the core skill set to be a management consultant. You don't need any additional as such certification like business analytics. If you've done an MBA specifically in business analytics, definitely you are more suitable for roles which require such kind of skills. But then you're also out of contention for probably some roles which do not require such niche skills. Here, I would say that business analytics is definitely on the boom, since you are required to liaise with a lot of stakeholders to understand the business requirements and kind of build a solution around that. So since I have not actually done MBA in business analytics, I'm not very sure about the career option. But I would say definitely it's a very booming field in India, especially.
We also have had sessions where people from business analytics have been talking about. It's just that this is something that a lot of management consulting is a stream, is a field that most every MBA aspirant is probably aspiring to be either a management consultant or an investment banker. These two are like one of those, those cream of the field that they want to get in. So obviously then, how much of business analytics is really part of a management consultant's life? So how much of data are you working with? And does it, like, when they're hiring these firms, are they looking for, what exactly are they looking for? Is it an MBA in management? Is it an MBA overall, like a general management, or an MBA in, say, in business analytics? Now that I'm Bangalore and all, they have started offering business analytics in MBA.
Got it.
So what exactly is a firm overall? I mean, you don't have to really talk about like which firm and all. Overall, even from your own experience, what are the kind of questions that even the hiring firms usually ask, and what is the kind of profile that might just be picked up?
Got it. Yeah. Makes sense. So the first answer to your first question, we work on data all the time. So if you are comfortable working with data, definitely management consulting is a very good option for you. Coming to the second part of your question, where what are the skills or what is that management consulting firms usually look at? So in a very broad sense, what I felt, they look for people who like to solve problems, not only good at problem solving, but also enjoy that, because you have to do that on a day in, day out basis for a very long period of time. That is one. Also, they should be someone who are comfortable speaking with clients, who empathize with the client, understand what they're trying to say, and then get to the solution very quickly. That is that. In terms of what are the kind of profiles that they pick, so here this is something which is a complete black box for everyone. Even in B schools, no one knows what is the exact criteria for picking profiles. So here, I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but these are the major skills that definitely management consulting firms look at.
Okay, but so mostly it is like a known knowledge information almost that the MBB usually hires from the top IIMs. Is there any, I mean, what about the people who are probably from the other B schools that are not the the top 5 or the top 10 IIMs?
You're right. So as far as I know, so this is completely my personal view. MBBs usually have 2 hiring mechanisms. One is the campus hiring program, where they have their own set of colleges which they want to visit and hire from. And I think they're expanding that list also. On the second, the lateral hiring, here, I don't think they have such a hard and fast rule as to which campus the candidate should belong to. And they do seek out candidates from a lot of different colleges, depending on what their relevant work experience is or any other achievement which they have, which might be relevant for the management consultant firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. okay, there's a question about how is the work-life balance? How much time do you really travel for work-related purposes? I've heard from another speaker, we literally, a management consultant lives out of the bags, out of their suitcases. Correct. Is it true? Right. I mean, are they like just, traveling a lot? And so that will bring me also to the next question, which is about the kind of aptitude that helps. So yeah, so first, yeah, work-life balance and how much traveling you really need to do. Is it very hectic?
Right. So definitely, I would like to make it kind of clear that management consulting does involve long hours. Typical working hours range anywhere between 12 to 16 on a daily basis. And usually in management consulting firms, Friday is slightly lighter. But be prepared for very long hours if you enter a management consulting firm. That is given. Secondly, in terms of travel, so a usual typical travel schedule is you fly out either on Sunday night or Monday morning to reach the client site. You stay in hotels, very good hotels, to be honest, from Monday to Thursday, and then you pack your bags and leave for your hometown on Thursday night. This is the typical travel schedule for management consulting firms. Might differ by specific firms, but yeah, so travel is there a lot. If you're lucky, like me, I got my first case as a remote case. So then you can work from home, but those instances are slightly rare, and expect travel if you're part of a MC
firm. Okay. So can you talk about the skill sets? Maybe 3 hard skills and 3 soft skills that are required for you to excel in this field. And also, if you are not, if you don't like traveling so much, you like to be at one place and all, then is management consulting a bad idea to pursue to start with even?
Right. Very relevant questions, definitely.
Yeah. So first is the hard skills, 3 hard skills and 3 soft skills. Yeah.
Right. In terms of hard skills, first of all, first would be being very comfortable with data. That could be that you like to analyze data, whether it's on MS Excel or you're using some business intelligence tool which helps to crunch data faster. That would be one. Also, to have knowing how to basically communicate a very good storyline, whether it's through MS PowerPoint, whether it's orally, visually, whatever it is. That is extremely important because you want to see the CXOs don't have much time. So in the limited time that you have to get across your message, because if they lose their train of thought, it's all gone. That particular meeting is futile. So that is extremely important. And third hard skill, I would say, if possible, that's actually a good to have, being good in finance, because there's a lot of number crunching, and obviously for all the CXOs, numbers is what matters. So here finance, having, let's say, a certification in finance or a core interest in finance would be a very good thing to have.
So like a CFA or anything?
Definitely. CFA would definitely.
That kind of puts them up on the profile as even in the selection process?
Could be, definitely should be, I would say. But again, that's always a black box.
Correct. In terms of soft skills.
Sure. In terms of soft skills, I think keeping aside soft skills, attitude is extremely important. It's not even a soft skill, but that is the most important thing if you're part of a management consulting firm. You have to have that go-to attitude where you want to get the answer quickly. You don't, want to keep on procrastinating your work or something like that. Right. So that is
your response time should be fast and should be on time.
Correct.
Okay.
Second, I would be that. Right. Second, I think would be having good communication skills always helps, because you want to communicate your message, like I mentioned, in a lucid manner, very quickly. So that always helps. And thirdly, I would say, in terms of soft skill,
maybe do you need to be a person who is good with people, studying people, reading people, or is intuitive at some level, so that they know exactly what probably the client is thinking, so that they can pitch the solution?
I think you're bang on, right, Kalyani? I think you're bang on. You do need to be good with people, because you're dealing with a lot of people when you're getting data or you're understanding something from within the company. So that is again a very core skill which you need to have. Correct.
Okay. And negotiations? How much negotiation one has to?
I think when you're starting out, you don't need that much. It's probably when you are fixing the financials of the project. That's when
Yeah, I was going to ask this question that somebody has already asked. So being an introvert and extrovert, does it matter? Yeah, because obviously, the moment you talk about you need to be, with people, you need to think like how they are thinking, probably putting yourself and then finding a solution and all that. Yeah. So, what happens to an introvert who is probably really good with the other things, like the hard skills that you were just talking about, like the Excel sheet and the data, like they can crunch numbers and everything.
My personal opinion is absolutely not. Being an introvert or extrovert does not matter. Like you mentioned, there are certain skills which are important. And if you can display these skills in your interview and your resume speaks about these skills, management consulting firms would be very happy to pick you and have you in their team. So I was saying, having said that, there is definitely a requirement for any team member to contribute with their ideas and pitch in with their analysis. So if that level of comfort speaking with team members and client is there, definitely management consulting is not an issue and would be in fact a good option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you talk a little bit about you did talk about the responsibility, but can you talk about what kind of, so from entry level to a senior level, what's the kind of the growth trajectory? Also, if you can just give like ballpark numbers for remuneration, like as in, just like a rough idea, because I'm sure anybody who's interested in the remunerations and all, please go on all the IIMs, they have their placement reports, and in that you'll be able to get also the information on how many the percentage of people who have been hired in consulting or in marketing, finance, and the kind of median salary, average salary, and all that. They've mentioned it all. So you can get that information from there. But of course, the speaker can definitely say something.
The speaker only knows his remuneration. No one else is in the firm. So I would be able to comment on that.
But just like a rough idea, as in where one usually starts, maybe.
I'll talk about the growth path, if that is the question.
All right. Okay, fine.
Right. So when you start in a management consulting firm, you are usually assigned to a case. And there, in the beginning, you are majorly required to provide all the analysis for a particular piece of work. That is typically what I have seen, could differ by firm also. You are required to provide analysis for a piece of work and take ownership for the solution to that particular requirement or that particular issue. As you grow up, you start to handle the entire project. You start to tie up all the answers, all the solutions, and present it, interact a lot with the C-suite, the CXOs. And then as you start to even grow further in the firm, you now start to handle multiple cases, multiple projects, get exposure to various industries. Again, your travel also increases because you're hopping between clients and finally getting cases or projects for the company.
Okay.
So that is what a typical career flow would look like.
Okay. So can a management consultant become a CXO or a CEO one day? As in, does that happen?
In fact, data does suggest that a lot of CXOs in India and abroad have a background in management consulting. Even a lot of political figures, prime ministers and presidents abroad have some background in management consulting. So definitely that experience helps a lot.
Yeah. Why is that? Is it because they're giving they're always providing solutions to everybody? So probably that's how, if you're the one who's a go-to person, kind of a
right. Okay. Yeah, that would be a major option, and that would be a major reason. And you pick up those skills because you interact with the CXOs quite a lot. So in the end, you kind of understand how to think like them, and you pick up the skills which are required to kind of lead a company.
Okay. There's a question about, let us know how to choose our specialization. So how do they choose their specialization? I mean, most MBA anyway they don't have, till second year, you select your electives in the second year, right?
Correct.
So, but how do you even choose your electives in the second year? How did you go? Actually, you just tell about your journey. So how did you decide? Of course, you already knew pretty much, but still, tips.
No, it's a very confusing decision. But again, I would stick with the same answer. I always go with what my strengths and interests are. If my, like even in B school in IIM Lucknow, I was very interested in strategy. My first year, I realized these are the courses which I love to attend. And these are the classes which I don't like to attend. So I carefully opted for those courses in my second year. And based on the courses you pick, your specialization automatically gets solidified. So my advice to people would be, don't go for classes which might be, let's say, very light, even if they are not of your interest, or classes which are very heavy, which are not of your interest. Interest should be of paramount importance, because it's always a breeze to attend these classes and in fact score good marks also.
Okay. How to improve score in VARC? Again, cat prep questions.
Definitely.
Yeah, how to improve score in VARC if scoring in single digit?
Okay.
This is CAT 2022, by the way. There's barely any time left.
Yeah, got it. I feel that if you're scoring low, or if you're scoring, I think the scope to improve is very high. It's very easy to improve. It's always the toughest to improve when you just have to, like, you're just there, but missing it out. In case you're not having good scores, first of all, again, I would say go to the whiteboard, take a couple of mock tests, only, let's say, maybe choose only the VARC section, give a couple of VARC mock tests, then assess, take out more time to assess your results rather than giving the mock test. If you're taking a 1 hour mock test, take 2 hours to assess your mock test, analyze which particular questions you are repeatedly doing wrong. Try to understand why is it that you are getting it wrong. It could be that maybe you are reading too fast, you're not going through the options well, you lack some grammar understanding, which you can always refresh. There are great courses online. You can always start reading up newspapers to improve your reading speed, whatever it is. But you first need to understand where you are lacking. Based on that, once you've understood that, try to find out ways how you can improve on that particular aspect. And I'm sure your scores will improve. There is absolutely no reason why it should not.
Okay. Anand, before we continue, I'll just tell you I think there's some lag happening at my end from time to time. So you also know, you can also see all the questions, so you can continue in case, something happens. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So next question is, okay, how do you, which one should one prefer? A general MBA or an MBA in any specific stream? How do you select?
Got it. Yeah, that's a very relevant question. My advice would be decide where you want to be. I know it's very tough to do that, but in a very broad sense, if you want to gain more understanding, speak to those people. Like, let's say if you want to be in marketing, then speak to people in marketing firms, their roles, understand what they do. If possible, meet them over coffee or something, and try to just understand what the role entails, and see if your strengths and interests match that. If they do, see what path they took, and try to do that. If they took, let's say, an MBA in business analytics, or they took a very specialized MBA, go for that. Take their advice. Don't rely only on placement reports. Don't rely on everything that you read on the internet. I would suggest do some primary research, because it's your career, it's your career which you're setting. Put some effort into that, and you will easily decide which course you should take up.
Okay. There's a question about how to get into big three firms. So MBB. Do you require does MBA help? Of course, it helps. Yeah. I mean, because the placements, because they are there for the placements.
It helped me, so I think that's the answer. Definitely helped me.
Actually, like almost most of the people been here from Bain or BCG or McKinsey. I mean, it always helps, because since they are there in campus to recruit, so obviously you have a higher chance of being selected from there.
There's definitely a chance.
Yeah. So, but tell me, if somebody is not an MBA and somebody had, say, like in your case, your experience of 2 years in consulting in KPMG.
Sure.
So then, if they want to get into one of these top firms, is it possible, or is MBA just something like, it does open doors for these big firms to happen?
Right. So MBA definitely does open doors. They do recruit in significant numbers from these schools. Having said that, management consulting firms also require people from fields which are not MBA. They do require non-MBAs, because that kind of thinking, that kind of opinions are also required on a lot of cases. So definitely MBA is not a prerequisite. to get into a management consulting firm. And there are other options also if your aim is to get into the top, the big.
Does a management consultant, do they require to be a jack of all trades?
Not exactly jack of all trades mean here, but like I mentioned earlier, if
maybe
you're not
knowledge about everything.
Yeah. No, we don't have knowledge about everything for sure. But you are expected to have in front of the client. So your ramp up is very fast. Right.
Correct,
if in 6 hours you have to meet a client.
So you have to consume a lot.
Right. You have to consume a lot of information.
So are you reading, is it where you were talking about that, a lot of data is required?
Right. Correct. Even apart from data, the industry knowledge, having a basic sense of where your client, what your client's position is in terms of, let's say, financials or in terms of their business model, that is something which is always a good to have. So in case you're assigned to a particular project, even if you don't know anything about that particular industry, let's say it's a pharmaceutical industry, which you don't know anything about, you are expected to have some knowledge. The resources will be provided by the firm, but then you are expected to ramp up very quickly so that you can understand the requirements of the client when the case, as the case progresses. Correct.
Okay. Was consulting one of your priority choices? Maybe this person has not been there in the first part, so you could just repeat. Maybe was consulting one of your priority choices that you wanted to be in before doing an MBA, or it happened to just turn out to be one of your liking during the MBA? Of course,
right. I think, that's a very relevant question. Like I mentioned earlier, when I got into KPMG, I liked the work that I was doing. It was just that obviously there was my aspiration also to maybe move into management consulting. And in B school, I tried to gather as much information or knowledge about the relevant aspects which would be important for me in management consulting, and then decided in my mind that if I would have to prioritize, I would go ahead with choosing management consulting as an option.
How can I prepare myself in terms of crunching data and analysis, being a non-engineer? Any course or book that you can recommend?
Great. I think that's a very relevant question. My personal experience has always been that hands-on exercise is always good. So to the person who asked this question, I would suggest try to get internships, maybe even a 8-week internship is good enough. But try to get an internship which allows you that particular task of crunching a lot of data, getting to answers, giving insights. And that is the best way to learn rather than going for courses in this case.
Okay. Can you talk about your placement process for Bain Company hiring at college level, the kind of questions maybe that you were asked?
On a very broad sense, I can answer that. So typically for all the consulting firms, the process remains the same. You are given business cases to solve on the day of the interview, and your interview gets over within 30 minutes to 1 hour. Basically, they give you short cases to solve, and you have to arrive at an answer to that, a solution or answer to that case. The main area of judgment is how you arrive to that answer. So the answer is not important, but how you arrived at the answer is most important, which reveals how you are thinking, your thinking process, how clear you are when you're thinking, how you structure your thoughts, and then how well you are able to communicate it to the interviewer. So it's kind of a mock client interaction in a way, because they judge you how you will perform if they keep you in front of a client.
What is a typical day for you as a associate consultant?
So in fact, there is no typical day. I think that's rule number 1 for management consulting. Absolutely no typical day. You don't know what kind of analysis you will have to do, what kind of work you will be given. But yes, majorly on a very broad level, you will analyze a lot of company data to get answers to problems, which will then tie up to a very big answer, which is relevant for the management, the CXOs.
Okay.
Right.
But what if somebody has been in management consulting for few years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and is not liking it, or it's not a good fit for that person? Then is it possible for them to make a transition to another field? But of course, how many years one should, as in, after maybe beyond a particular point, you cannot or it's very difficult to get into another? Is there something like that?
Okay. I haven't reached that stage personally.
Yes, of course, yeah. But,
so I don't think I'll be able to comment exactly on that.
And yeah, as in the transition.
Right. I think the core skills are very important. Wherever you're transitioning to. So you've interacted with, you've solved some top level business problems. If you're a management consultant, you have a fair idea of certain industries. You have certain core skill sets, hard skills and soft skills both. So these skills, wherever they are valued, those companies will definitely pick you. It might not be always, let's say, very niche field. Like, let's say you want to get into maybe the entertainment industry. If you've done projects in the entertainment industry, then maybe you can get into, let's say, media industry, whatever it is. But if any companies wants people with these core skills, definitely it should not be difficult to transition.
Okay. I'm from a designing background, fashion and textile. Do I have a chance in management consulting?
I'm sure. I don't think management consulting ever closes the door on anyone. Like I mentioned, if you have the relevant experience which they require, and the cases do vary a lot. They might be doing a fashion case right now and might want Kalyani, or might want someone else on their case. So definitely that always happens. It completely depends on what the requirement for that particular firm is, like it is for any other firm. So those are never closed for anyone, I think.
Okay. Does consulting job creates entrepreneurs as they have lots of data of various fields?
Sure. I have seen a lot of consulting ex-consultants who started out on their own. One alumnus from my campus only, Shantanu Deshpande, he was an ex-McKinsey guy who started Bombay Shaving Company. Yeah, that's one I can remember. But there are hundreds of entrepreneurs who have experience in management consulting. It could be that, yes, some of the skills and some of the experience that they had helped them create that particular business. But obviously, there are other firms also which they could have been part of, and they would have been an entrepreneur still.
Do the MBB refer their employees abroad for permanent settlement? The kind of questions.
Yeah, that is a perk I think everyone wants. Permanent settlement abroad. True, correct. See, there are definitely opportunities. After you spend some time in the firm, they know that yes, you work well and you've solved some cases. There are a lot of opportunities in consulting firms to try a case abroad. And then again, based on your interaction with the case team abroad, there are chances to get absorbed there.
Okay.
So I wouldn't outright say that no, there are no chances, but yes, it depends on how your experience with the firm has been till that point.
Okay. How much of your previous academics before an MBA, how much of that has weightage over your being hired by one of these top firms, top management consulting?
Right.
Like so, 10th, 12th college graduation.
Got it. Yeah.
Undergrad,
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. So like I was a campus hire and we always put all our scores on the resume. Must have been given some weightage, I believe. Can't point out to the exact percentage, but yes, all these factors are considered. But you can always improve. Let's say by chance you don't have a good 10th or 12th score. Don't let that be a deterrent for you. There are hundreds of other avenues through which you can demonstrate that yes, you have achieved something significant, which might be of interest to management consulting firms, and they will pick you. So yeah.
Again, the question about what kind of things do the management consulting firms look for on a CV? So maybe you can probably give tips on what all they can add, or how to basically or maybe tips on how to do a good interview. I mean, how to sit through an interview and make it count. Yeah.
Sure. So from the interview standpoint, like I mentioned, interview revolves around business cases only, solving them. And
so you were given a case, and then
we are given a couple of business cases. We have to solve them and find an answer to that. For that, prior practice is required. So you solve those mock business cases, like we do mock tests for CAT. We do mock business cases before the big day. So that is the procedure is the same. In terms of resume, majorly consulting firms, if they're shortlisting candidates, they do have a look at the academics. That is important. They have a look at your previous work ex, if any, because their obviously previous work ex might be relevant to in the current projects that they are working on. And then they also have a look at any outside interest apart from professional, like any extracurricular activities, any other position of responsibility which you've taken, any social work. All of these come into the play. That is why it's very difficult to pinpoint what they want, because they take everything into consideration and then decide.
So if business cases are what they ask in the interview, I think, that's where MBA plays its role. Because
correct.
Yeah, because you study case studies and you have a group where, and then your network is helping you. Your seniors are helping you to prepare for those interviews. Correct.
That is where these two plays a very important role. Correct.
Does previous research work help in building resume, and the consulting firms look for such profile, like research paper and all?
Definitely. I would say, yes, like I mentioned, every component is important. Every component is given attention. And the previous research, again, this points out to skills that this particular person has spent hours in, cracking a problem or getting to a certain solution based on research. So it's a skill which is valuable for management consulting. And if you can demonstrate it well, if you've done something significant, definitely they might have an interest in.
Do you have to be very good with numbers to become a management consultant?
See, I wouldn't lie. Being good with numbers is important. There are no two ways about that, because numbers is the bread and butter in management consulting. You speak numbers internally within the team. You speak numbers with the client. That is what they want to hear. And you can't get to an answer without a number. You can't be ambiguous about it. You can't make it subjective. There has to be a number to an answer. So you have to be good with numbers. But don't fret if you're not good with numbers right now. You have to, if you're joining a B school, you have those 2 years. I've seen people who are not good with numbers at the start, but who became very good with numbers at the end. So these 2 years are always the time to improve that in case you're not good with numbers right now.
Right. Okay. Do you have any tips for people who are interested to pursue a career in management consulting? Maybe one tip.
Sure.
And three books. Yeah. Before I forget to ask.
3 books and 1 tip. My God.
Yes. and after that, one more question is there. More tips.
Okay, sure. So I think one tip for people to get into management consulting, it's not an easy road. That's what I would say. So be perseverant, be patient, try to do a lot of things, try to find out what you're good at, and then stick to that. Because if you're able to show that you're good at something and very good at something, then the firms will recognize that level of achievement and would be interested in seeing you. Be yourself. That is extremely important. I won't have 3 books, Kalyani. I might have just 1 right now.
Okay, maybe one book on the top of your head that you can recommend for the aspirants, something that they will understand, not somebody who is already in management consulting.
Sure. No worries. Yeah, so there is this favorite book of mine. It's called Winning by Jack Welch. He was the former CEO of General Electric. And there he has kind of recounted his journey as the CEO of General Electric and what were his major skills and his major strengths which helped him turn General Electric around. So I would recommend people to read that. It's an amazing book, and it gives you a lot of insights into how CEOs and top level executives think.
Okay. Again, back to some CAT prep, because I did say that, that we will talk about some CAT prep. Yes. So how to improve quant and DILR section tips.
Right.
Makes
sense.
Again, I think for CAT 2022, I believe they need to take a lot of mocks right now. So of course, depending on that, and CAT 2023. So maybe, one tip for this and one tip for that.
Right. I think personally, what I've seen during my CAT prep time was quant is the section which requires the maximum effort. Until you're very good with numbers, which some people are, quant for most of the people requires maximum effort. So I think in terms of giving your time to CAT prep, devote the major chunk of your time to quant, I would say. In terms of LRDI, so here again, I think always the basic starting point is start giving mocks. LRDI is something where there are very different LRDI cases in very different mock tests. So give a lot of LRDI mocks for LRDI so to understand the different cases where you're lagging and all that. For quant, just practice. Even if you don't give mocks, just first try to build your base. Try to understand the fundamentals first, and then maybe you can test yourself for that particular chapter, for that particular topic. You can give a quant mock.
Okay.
So, yeah, that would
before we wrap up, one suggestion or maybe a few suggestions for our CAT aspirants. Basically, something, maybe, not one tip, a few suggestions for them, because right now it's for CAT 2022. It's almost 50 days left, around 49 days left. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, for that.
Right.
And yeah, if you recall, what were you doing during that stage, and your mocks and all that, and how it was affecting, and what did you do on the day? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I think this is a time when one is most tense. I think mostly under pressure, and I completely get where you guys are coming from. Last 50 days are the toughest. I would just say that whatever happens in the CAT exam, on a broader perspective, don't be dejected in case CAT does not go well. Always keep that at the back of the mind. There are hundreds of other options in life in case CAT does not go well, because don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Having said that, try to make the best use of these 50 days. My suggestion would be, for those who have not started giving mocks, start giving mocks, because assess where you are. Don't make CAT your surprise day that you suddenly realize, okay, you were not good at LRDI. That is one thing. And don't take a lot of pressure. There are other things also in life apart from this. For the D-Day, I would say sleep well. Just a night before the day, my one CAT has been ruined because I could not sleep well. So ensure that you get good sleep before your CAT exam, and I'm sure you will crack it, all of you. I'm very sure.
Okay, there's just one question, and we do have some time. I'm a fresher, and if I'm getting admission in a B school like IMT or Symbiosis, but I'm confident of getting into a B school like IIML, if not IIM if I take another chance at CAT, should I give another year? This is a very good question, actually. I want to get into management consulting. It's a good question. It's a very genuinely, very honest question for many.
Correct. Yeah. I think I was also at this particular crossroads when you have offer from certain institutes, but you're targeting others. Very relevant question. I would say go with what your gut says. A lot of people will, so there will be two sides of people, right? One would say go with a safe option. I would say go with whatever your gut says. If you feel you can crack whichever institute you want to get into, and you have time for that, it's not very late. Do go for that. Chase your dreams. Dream big. I think that is what everyone should do. And it's completely okay to skip a year and give CAT another year. Especially if you're a fresher, do that, I would say. But yes, go with your gut. Don't go with anyone's word, including me.
Correct. Yeah. And also the point is, like, instead of living with that regret that, maybe, I could have cracked it, and if only in the next year, maybe. And obviously, if you're so clear that you want to get into management consulting, so might as well, try for the top.
If you have time, definitely try for definitely try another year.
You will get better placements, better companies are coming to recruit, which is honest answer, most honest answer for the honest question. Yeah. So how management consulting is different from investment banking? Very different, but yeah. Why don't you just enlighten us?
Right. So I personally don't have a flavor of investment banking at all. Absolutely zero flavor, so I wouldn't be able to comment, but I think the lifestyle is the same.
But IB is a little bit one notch higher, no, in stress.
Could be. I could be actually. So I actually wouldn't be able to exactly comment on that. But yes, in terms of let's say the working hours or the kind of work that you are doing, it's very high level work, and you have to churn out the output very fast. That is something which is common between both the professions.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you all the attendees for wonderful questions, and thank you Anant Gupta for all the insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kalyani. All the best to all the aspirants. I'm sure you'll get the college of your choice. All the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah.